Chapter 1086. The difficulty of the fifth floor increased by several times. This time, he would not only have to face a large number of enemies, but also a lot of unknown dangers. Apart from that, one could not fly on the fifth floor, and could only rely on walking. Although life and death realm warriors could walk quite fast, it would still cause a lot of trouble. Too many. The whole planet is filled with enemies, and I still have to collect all 12 meteorites. Even Yi Chen felt that the difficulty of the fifth floor was quite tricky. Under the circumstances where no one could fly, it was impossible for him to be besieged. However, due to the sheer number of enemies covering the entire planet, he would either have to flee or fight. This was a great test of one's will, which was an indispensable part of survival. Shoo! In the dense forest, a cone-shaped fire thunder shot toward Yi Chen's head. It was a sharp arrow, and the one who shot it was a Yiksha archer. In front of the archer, there were 7 or 8 demon kings and Yiksha kings chasing after Yi Chen. The distance between the two sides was about 1,000 li due to the rules. The range of soul power was very small on the fifth floor, and the destructive power was also very small. If one wanted to notice something far away, they could only rely on their eyesight. Therefore, a long-range arrow attack would be very fatal. Yi Chen twisted his body dodging the arrow. When he completed his 360-degree turn, Yi Chen's sword chi also shot out, following the arrow's trajectory and attacking the source. Pooh! That Yiksha archer's head was hit by the sword chi and exploded, but he did not die. However, it was enough. The destructive sword intent had already invaded his body, and could not be expelled in a short period of time. In Yi Chen's eyes, he was no different from a target. Right now he had to deal with 4 demon kings and 3 Yiksha kings. The demon kings and Yiksha kings' speed was very fast, and they could cover 1,000 li in a couple of breaths. But suddenly they lost one member, and then another. In the blink of an eye, 4 demon kings and 3 Yiksha kings were annihilated. What had killed them was not Yi Chen, but a kind of black golden huge flower. Their roots seemed to be only a few hundred meters long, but they could stretch for hundreds of miles. When those huge flowers bloomed, the inside was filled with spiral-shaped sawteeth, which were immeasurably deep. These sawteeth obviously contained a deadly poison that could enchant the souls of life and death realm warriors, killing them as they pleased. Universe variant plant, Emperor flower seedling. Monarch flowers were the apex predators at the top of the pyramid of plants. When they were still in the seedling stage, they could already hunt down kings below the 7th sky of life and death realm. Once they matured, even titled monarchs would have to keep their distance. Under normal circumstances, a mature monarch flower could absorb the nutrients of an entire planet. When the planet's nutrients were exhausted, the monarch flower would drive the planet's outer shell to wander in the universe and hunt. The 5th floor of the survival tower actually has an imperial flower seedling. Yi Chen frowned. If he encountered an imperial flower seedling, it would be very dangerous for him. He would not be able to take it head-on, so he could only dodge. Yi Chen did not have the time to kill the archer, so he rushed toward the place where the meteor chi was coming from. The first one. Soon, Yi Chen found the first meteorite, and there were 11 left. The 7th one. The 9th one. The 11th one. Only the last one left. In the blink of an eye, Yi Chen had stayed in the 5th floor for a month. During this month, he had been hunted down 823 times. He had killed 248 enemies, and had been injured more than 100 times. 60 of those injuries were not caused by enemies, but by the unknown dangers of this planet. Imperial flower seedling, king eating grass, blood plane, white bone path. They are all on the 5th floor, but the difficulty of the 5th floor is several times higher than the 5th floor of the God of War Tower. It is almost the same as the 6th floor of the God of War Tower. I wonder what kind of dangers await me at the end. Yi Chen did not dare to be careless. His nerves were stretched taut. During this month he had not rested at all. He was sure that if he relaxed even a little bit, the consequences would be unimaginable. The aura of the 12th meteorite. This planet was not small, having a diameter of 10 million li based on the size of a meteorite. The range of its aura was uncertain. Even from 10,000 li away, Yi Chen could sense the aura emitted by the 12th meteorite. Taking a deep breath, Yi Chen quietly entered the forest, heading towards the source of the meteorite's aura. After a meal, Yi Chen stopped. Using his vision, Yi Chen saw a barren land a few hundred miles away. In the middle of the empty land, a 10-meter blue meteorite crystal had fallen. It was a meteorite. However, there was an imperial flower seedling hidden in the forest near the meteorite. This imperial flower seedling had changed color, so much so that it had blended in with its surroundings. If not for Yi Chen's strong vision, he would not have been able to see through it. If he was not careful, he might be eaten alive by the imperial flower seedling. This place is a few hundred miles away from the meteorite. Before I reach it, I might be eaten by the imperial flower seedling. It seems that I have to attract some enemies, so that I can deceive them. After making up his mind, Yi Chen retreated. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. One sharp arrow after another shot out, chasing after Yi Chen, who was still running. There are a total of 18 enemies. They should be able to buy me some time. If not, I'll have to fight. There were 18 enemies behind Yi Chen. Among them, 3 were Wuxia archers, 2 were demon archers, and the other 13 were demon kings, 4 Wuxia kings and 5 evil kings. It was a very powerful team. Soon, Yi Chen was less than 500 miles away from the meteorite. This distance was within the attack range of the imperial flower seedling. However, it was obvious that the imperial flower seedling was quite intelligent. It did not attack immediately. It would wait for everyone to be within its attack range before attacking. 400 miles, 300 miles, 200 miles, 100 miles. When Yi Chen was less than 50 miles away from the meteorite, the imperial flower seedling attacked. It first attacked the 5 archers at the back. 5 flower buds shot out in the shape of a shuttle. When they approached the 5 archers, they suddenly opened and swallowed them. After chewing for a while, they were completely digested. Got it. By now, Yi Chen had already obtained the meteorite. Looking back, there were only 3 enemies left. In a short period of time, the imperial flower seedling had attacked 3 times, and each time it ate 5 enemies. Run. Without any other thoughts, Yi Chen exerted force with his feet, causing the ground to collapse. He ran at his maximum speed. Hiss! An ear-piercing sound came. Yi Chen almost instinctively rolled to the right. Rumble! A large piece of soil disappeared. The imperial flower seedling's attack had failed. Hiss! 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 This time, there were 5 ear-piercing sounds. Obviously, all the enemies had been killed. The imperial flower seedling had put all of its energy on Yi Chen. Split sword domain slow down. Yi Chen released his sword domain, which slowed down the imperial flower seedling's attack speed. However, Yi Chen's speed didn't slow down, but increased instead. Finally, Yi Chen was 500 miles away. What? The attack range is over 500 miles. The ear-piercing sound came from behind him, faster than any of the previous times. Even the split sword domain couldn't stop it. It seemed like the power contained in it had surpassed the limit of the split sword domain. Clang! The dragon spring sword automatically flew out of its sheath, turned into 100 sword shadows, and shot out. 100 sword shadows. Clang! 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 Sparks flew everywhere. The 100 sword shadows blocked the imperial flower seedling for a second. Seizing this opportunity, Yi Chen moved sideways. Bang! The ground on his right cracked, and a large piece of it disappeared. So close. The imperial flower seedling only stopped its attack after escaping for 1,000 miles. Putting away the dragon spring sword, Yi Chen turned around and realized something. It seemed like the imperial flower seedling had 5 flower buds, and one of them was the most powerful one. Its attack range had reached 1,000 miles. It was said that the number of flower buds it had represented its cultivation. 5 flower buds were equivalent to the 5th sky of life and death realm. However, a 5th sky imperial flower seedling was much more powerful than most 6th sky life and death realm kings. 12-star meteorites are in my hands. I should be more careful from now on. I can't be careless. After spending half a day, Yi Chen arrived at a tall mountain, and a beam of light shrouded him. Past the 5th floor of Survival Tower. Reward 600 Shinbi. Primary badge upgraded to intermediate badge. A voice came down from the sky, reaching the 5th floor of the God of War Tower, which was the 4th floor, would upgrade one's badge to a primary badge. Reaching the 7th floor, which was the 6th floor, would upgrade it to an intermediate badge. The Survival Tower would also have one floor less. As long as one could reach the 3rd floor and the 4th floor, one would be able to upgrade it to a primary badge. After reaching the 5th floor and the 6th floor, one would be able to upgrade it to an intermediate badge. However, it was different from 1 year ago. 1 year ago, as long as Yi Chen reached the 4th floor, he would have to enter the hunting tower once in 3 months. But now, although Yi Chen's badge had been upgraded to an intermediate badge, he still had to go through 3 hunts in the 1st or 2nd floor of the hunting tower. Not only the 1st and 2nd floor, but also the 3rd and 4th floor required 3 hunts. In other words, even if one had the strength of a senior member, he would still have to complete 6 hunts in the 1st to 4th floor. Of course, this kind of situation rarely happened. Most people only had to go through 1 floor at a time, but Yi Chen had gone through several floors at once. On the 6th floor of the Survival Tower, Yi Chen had only stayed for 3 days before he was eliminated. The difficulty here had already surpassed the 6th floor of the God of War Tower. Even Yi Chen couldn't pass it. What Yi Chen didn't know was that as he passed through the God of War Tower and Survival Tower, his ranking in the 1st floor of the hunting tower kept rising. When he reached the 6th floor of the Survival Tower, he was already ranked 1st. The Fei Ling team leader, Huang Hengfei, was ranked 3rd below him. And behind his name, there was the words intermediate member. What? He became an intermediate member in one go. This Yi Chen newbie is too crazy. We must find a way to get him to join our battle team. Although he's already a mid-ranked member, he still needs to complete 3 hunts on the 1st and 2nd floor of the hunting tower. With his strength, he'll definitely be able to lead us to an overwhelming victory and earn more Shinbi. Chapter 1087. 1 to 10, 10 to 100. The news of Yi Chen becoming a mid-ranked member soon spread throughout the whole God Paradise. My bad. If I had known that he would improve so quickly, I would have communicated with him earlier. With him joining our Fei Ling team, we would be able to dominate the 2nd level of the hunting battlefield. We would be able to earn multiple divine coins in one go. After receiving the news, Huang Hengfei frowned. In terms of combat power, Yi Chen might not be stronger than him. They were both at the 6th level of the God of War Pagoda. However, in terms of survivability, Huang Hengfei was much weaker than Yi Chen. Strong survivability meant that Yi Chen could adapt to any environment. The hunting battlefield was no exception. Unlike some people who made mistakes the first time, they entered the hunting battlefield and couldn't adapt to the environment in a short time. This was also why the 1st level of the hunting tower existed. The 2nd level of the hunting tower was for teams to hunt, while the 1st level was for individuals to hunt. Under normal circumstances, a new member wouldn't be accepted by a team. They had to survive a few times on the 1st level of the hunting tower before being accepted by a team. Of course, a monster like Yi Chen was an exception. Time is of the essence. If I miss this opportunity, there won't be another one. After making up his mind, Huang Hengfei decided to recruit Yi Chen even if he had to pay a price. With such a strong person's help, they would definitely be able to earn more divine coins. With divine coins, his strength could continue to improve. Perhaps he could even reach the 7th level of the God of War Pagoda within a year and become a mid-level member of the Paradise of Gods. What? You're saying that Yi Chen became a mid-level member in a year? In the Paradise of Gods, there was a hotel. In this hotel, one only needed to pay 1 Shinbi to enjoy the finest wine. On the 2nd floor of the hotel, 5 young men sat together, led by a valiant and formidable-looking woman. This was a mid-level team, and the leader was this woman. Her name was Huang Fuyu. She was very strong, and had already reached the 8th level of the God of War Pagoda. She was only 1 level away from becoming a high-level member. She seemed to be in disbelief when she heard that Yi Chen had become a mid-level member. The young man nodded and said, "That's right. I didn't believe it at first, but I purposely went to the hunting pagoda and found that he was ranked 1st on the hunting pagoda's primary member information screen. His current strength is at the 6th level of the God of War Pagoda and the 6th level of the Survival Pagoda. Amazing, becoming an intermediate member in just 1 year. This is something that has never happened in the Paradise of Gods for tens of thousands of years. This means that his potential is very great, and he is constantly improving. Although he needs to complete 3 primary hunts, we have to act early. After he completes the 3 hunts, let him join our team. Captain, although his potential is astonishing, his strength is still very weak compared to an intermediate member. Will adding him drag us down? A young man voiced his opinion. What do you know? This is called striking first gains the upper hand. When he's stronger than us, it won't be us choosing him, but him choosing us. So although he's still very weak now, once he grows up, he'll become our team's trump card. Moreover, his survivability isn't any weaker than yours, so he might not drag us down. That's true. This person's survivability is too strong. He actually made it to the 6th level of the Survival Pagoda. In the team, apart from the captain, Huang Fuyu, and the vice-captain, the others were all at the 7th level of the God of War Pagoda, 1 level higher than Yi Chen. As for the 6th level of the Survival Pagoda, they were the same as Yi Chen. Yi Chen, congratulations. I didn't expect you to become an intermediate member so soon. It had been a few days since Yi Chen had made it to the 6th level of the Survival Pagoda. These days, Yi Chen didn't cultivate immediately. Instead, he took some time to relax. A martial artist's cultivation was all about relaxation and tension. If one was too impatient, they would lose their freedom and turn themselves into a martial artist's puppet. In the hotel, this year's newcomers gathered for a drink. Of course, Yi Chen treated them. Each person received 10 bottles of supreme-grade wine. Anyway, he had 1,400 shinbi now, and 1 shinbi was enough to buy many supreme-grade wines. It's nothing. As long as you work hard, you can also become a primary member very quickly and earn more shinbi. Yi Chen took a sip of wine and said, "It's difficult. Our talents are only above average in the Paradise of Gods. If we want to become a primary member, it will take at least 5 years. Only Lung Fifan, Audiobook, and you have more potential." The one who spoke was Lu Wuxia. Well, 5 years is still too little, but we are not in a hurry. To us, becoming a primary member too early is not a good thing. In the hunting battlefield, the weak will only become prey. What we need to do is to build a solid foundation. Xiao Xiao nodded. Zhou Jian was also at the table. He didn't dislike Yi Chen as much anymore. After coming to the Paradise of Gods, he realized that there were so many geniuses in the universe. There would always be someone better than you. Comparing yourself with others would only bring trouble to yourself. Comparing yourself was the source of continuous improvement. As long as they could surpass their past selves, one day, they would all be at the forefront. As for comparing himself with Yi Chen, it was simply asking for a beating. A year ago, Yi Chen had already reached the 4th level of the God of War Pagoda. A year later, Yi Chen had already reached the 6th level. This speed of improvement was simply shocking. Zhou Jian had only barely reached the 3rd level of the God of War Pagoda. He was far behind even Yi Chen from a year ago. Not to mention Yi Chen, even Audiobook and Lung Fifan were not people he could easily catch up with. Audiobook had already reached the 4th level of the God of War Pagoda half a year ago. He would probably reach the 5th level in less than a year and become a primary member of the Paradise of Gods. Lung Fifan had reached the 4th level 3 months ago. In 2 years, he would almost become a primary member. Yi Chen, you go first now. But my martial phantom is about to break through. Then let's compete again. Audiobook's martial phantom could produce 3 phantoms, but in the past year, he had made great progress in his spear Dao. When his spear Dao was formed, he would be able to produce 4 phantoms. Together with his real body, he would have 5 times the battle power. Okay. Yi Chen smiled. After drinking for a while, more and more people came to the hotel. Yi Chen, I wonder if you can come over for a chat? Huang Hengfei walked over. Yi Chen nodded and said to Audiobook and the rest, "You guys stay here and drink. I'll go over for a while." Okay. I didn't expect the Paradise of Gods to have all kinds of top-grade wine. It would be a waste not to drink. Yi Chen treated them. and they were very happy to drink. Following Huang Hengfei, Yi Chen came to another table. Apart from Huang Hengfei, there were 3 other people at the table, 2 men and 1 woman. A primary team could not have more than 5 people. Previously, the Flying Spirit team had lost 1 member, and had yet to make up for it. If Yi Chen could join, there would be exactly 5 people. Yi Chen, let me introduce you. This is the Flying Spirit team's deputy leader Lin Xiaofeng. He is at the 6th level of the God of War Pagoda. This is Wei Dong. Li Wei is at the 5th level of the God of War Pagoda. Everyone, this is Yi Chen. He has already reached the 6th level of the Survival Pagoda. Huang Hengfei introduced both sides. It's an honor to meet you. The Flying Spirit team's deputy leader, Lin Xiaofeng, and the other 2 members stood up, their faces full of admiration. It's just a temporary breakthrough, Yi Chen said. All right, sit down. Huang Hengfei passed his top-grade wine to Yi Chen and said, Yi Chen, I told you last time that you can consider joining the Flying Spirit team when you are qualified. What do you think? No problem. Yi Chen agreed without hesitation. If he had not reached the 6th level of the Survival Pagoda, he would have considered it more. However, he was already an intermediate member. After joining the Flying Spirit team, he could only participate in 3 hunts. Since there were only 3 hunts, there was no need to consider so much. The Flying Spirit team was indeed one of the top primary teams, and Huang Hengfei was ranked 3rd among the primary members. Haha, you are indeed a straightforward person. Huang Hengfei was taken aback. He did not expect Yi Chen to agree so easily. Then, a joyful expression appeared on his face. With Yi Chen, their team would have 3 warriors at the 6th level of the God of War Pagoda. Adding Yi Chen's survivability, the overall strength of the Flying Spirit battle team would undoubtedly reach another level. Oh yes, what are the rewards for the 1st and 2nd levels of the Hunting Pagoda? The 1st and 2nd levels of the Hunting Pagoda were both primary hunting battlefields. Yi Chen wanted to ask what the difference was. Deputy Leader Lin Xiaofeng said, This is exactly what we wanted to talk to you about. The 1st level of the Hunting Pagoda is for individual hunts, and the 2nd level is for teams. If it was someone else, I might persuade them to hunt a few more times on the 1st level to adapt to the environment. But for you, I think it's better for you to hunt as a team. Because your survival ability is strong enough, you will definitely be able to adapt to the hunting battlefields. Staying on the 1st level will only waste time and energy. That's right. Huang Hengfei nodded. On the 1st level, killing a primary member of another paradise is only rewarded with 100 shinbi. But on the 2nd level, killing a primary member of another paradise is rewarded with 1,000 shinbi. Although not all of the 1,000 shinbi belongs to you, according to your contribution, you will definitely get more than the 1st level. For example, if it is divided equally, each person will get 200 shinbi. In addition, there is also a team reward, which is 10% of the total harvest. That is to say, if our Flying Spirit team gets 1,000 shinbi, the team reward will be 100 shinbi. After listening to their explanation, Yi Chen more or less understood the rules of the Hunting Pagoda. Not to mention individual hunts, all the shinbi obtained would belong to them. But when hunting in a team, the shinbi would be divided according to the individual's contribution. The ratio was very simple. There were 5 people in a primary hunting team. If one's contribution was 1%, then one would get 1%. If one's contribution was 2%, then it would be 40%. 1% was the average, which meant that one's contribution was the most average. If it was more than 1%, it meant that one's contribution was more. If it was less than 1%, it meant that one's contribution was less. The total contribution of the team was 5. Chapter 1088. Our Flying Spirit squad is one of the best beginner squads. On average, we can kill 1 beginner member of another playground every time we hunt. Including the squad rewards and other rewards, the total income from a single hunt is about 2,000 shinbi. Even if we divide it equally among 5 people, each person will get 400 shinbi. Since we hunt once every 3 months, we can hunt 4 times a year. In other words, each person can earn 1,500 shinbi a year. As for ordinary beginner squads, it's already not bad if each person can earn 400 Shinbi a year. Including you, it's possible for each person to earn more than 2,000 Shinbi a year. Huang Hengfei continued. Vice Captain Lin Xiaofeng laughed. Captain, you forgot to mention one thing. If you can annihilate the other team in the hunting battlefield, you'll get double the amount of Shinbi. A team of 5 people would get 5,000 Shinbi. Double the amount would be 20,000 Shinbi. Adding on the rewards, it's really amazing. We'll be rich in one go. Annihilate the enemy team, double the amount of Shinbi. Yi Chen showed a trace of surprise. Yes, but... Huang Hengfei smiled bitterly. It is very difficult to annihilate the enemy team. I have been in the paradise of gods for dozens of years, and the most I have ever killed was 3 members of an enemy team. Of course, it is not that there is no such thing, but it is very, very rare. Joining a team was very simple. One only needed to activate the light screen of the badge, then search for a team, find the Flying Spirit Battle Team, and click to join. The badge of the Paradise Battle Team contained a person's soul imprint. A team is equivalent to 5 people's soul imprints linked together. After joining a team, no matter how far away you are, you can contact your team members, and you can also easily find the location of your team members through the light screen of the badge. Now the light screen of Yi Chen's badge showed team, Flying Spirit Battle Team identity, member team size, 5 hunting count, none hunting achievement, none number of Shinbi, 1,389 inch haha. From now on, we are a team. I hope we can win the first hunt. Cheers. Huang Hengfei raised his glass and drank it in one gulp. Yi Chen and the other 3 also drank the wine in their glasses. After 3 rounds of drinking, a clear voice sounded. You are Yi Chen. I'm Huang Fuyu, the captain of the Frost Battle Team. It's an honor to meet you. A valiant and formidable-looking young woman walked over. She wore an ice blue tight-fitting robe, and her hair was coiled up with a hairpin. At the end of the hairpin hung a small crystal. I'm Yi Chen. What's the matter? Yi Chen stood up. I would like to invite you to join the Frost Battle Team. Of course, after you have completed 3 beginner hunts. Huang Fuyu smiled. Yi Chen, the Ice Frost Battle Team, is ranked 4th among the mid-level teams. Their captain, Huang Fuyu, has already reached the 8th level of the God of War Pagoda, and the 7th level of the Survival Tower. Their vice-captain has also reached the same level. I think you should consider it. As for the top 3 mid-level teams, although they are slightly stronger than the Ice Frost Battle Team, they are all full members. Only the Ice Frost Battle Team is missing 1 member. If you decline now, it will probably be difficult to join them in the future. Huang Hengfei whispered to Yi Chen. Yi Chen nodded slightly. Indeed, it was not easy to join a team. It also depended on whether the other team was full or not. If the other team was full, it would be impossible even if he wanted to join. After all, they would not kick someone because of him. This would make the other team members feel insecure. If there are no accidents, I will consider the Ice Frost Battle Team first, Yi Chen said. Good. That's good enough. Huang Fuyu was very satisfied with this result. Although among the top 4 mid-level teams, only the Ice Frost Battle Team was missing 1 member. It did not mean that the other teams did not have any thoughts about Yi Chen. The hunting battlefield was extremely dangerous, and they could lose members at any time. The Ice Frost Battle Team was already very strong, but they still lost 1 member. Maybe after Yi Chen completed 3 beginner hunts, the top 4 mid-level teams would all be missing members. Therefore, she decided to strike first. If she struck later, Yi Chen would probably not consider the Ice Frost Battle Team first. These 10 bottles of Ice and Fire 9 Heavens are for you. Huang Fuyu waved her hand, and 10 bottles of wine appeared on the table in front of Yi Chen. She then turned and left. Ice and Fire 9 Heavens, good wine. This is a top-grade wine worth 10 Shinbi per bottle. 10 bottles is 100 Shinbi. Huang Hengfei's eyes widened. In the paradise of gods, 1 Shinbi could buy 10 bottles of top-grade low-grade wine. For example, when Yi Chen treated Ajiu and the others, it only cost him 11 Shinbi. But the Ice and Fire 9 Heavens that Huang Fuyu gave to Yi Chen cost 10 Shinbi per bottle. 10 bottles were 100 Shinbi. This was not a small amount. Huang Hengfei could only earn a few hundred Shinbi every time he hunted. which was not even enough for himself. He had only drunk 1 bottle of ice and fire 9 heavens, which was too extravagant. Team member Li Wei said enviously, Captain Huang Fuyu is indeed generous, but she is the captain of the Frost Battle Squad. She can probably earn 2,000 Shinbi in a single hunt, so 100 Shinbi is still within her budget. Team member Wei Dong said, You can't say that. The higher one's strength, the harder it is to improve. Spending Shinbi is like flowing water. For example, 1 Shinbi can be used to cultivate for a day on the first floor of the martial skill tower, but 10 Shinbi for the second floor, and 100 Shinbi for the third floor. Other than that, the Tower of Time is also very expensive. That's right. I guess only high-ranking members can afford ice and fire 9 heavens. They earn a ridiculous amount of Shinbi. Spending 100 Shinbi every month isn't a big deal, but it's hard to say if they spend more than that. Vice Captain Lin Xiaofeng nodded. Yi Chen opened the cork of the ice and fire 9 heavens bottle and took a sip. Immediately, his body felt cold at first, then hot. Ice and fire blended together, and all 48,000 pores on his body opened up. Every cell in his body seemed to have eaten a great tonic, wriggling crazily as they absorbed the wine's power. This ice and fire 9 heavens had the effect of tempering one's spirit body, although it wasn't very obvious. Moreover, with just 1 sip, Yi Chen felt a slight intoxicating taste. For a life and death king, this was an incredible feeling. Even 10 bottles of ordinary supreme rank wine wouldn't be enough to make one drunk. You guys drink too. Yi Chen gave a bottle of ice and fire 9 heavens to Huang Hengfei and the other 3. Hee, then we won't stand on ceremony. Huang Hengfei licked his lips. It had been a long time since he had tasted the ice and fire 9 heavens. Before leaving the hotel, Yi Chen and Huang Hengfei and the other 3 had agreed to enter the hunting tower to hunt in 2 months. Therefore, in the next 2 months, Yi Chen had to continue to increase his power in order to make sure nothing went wrong. Right now, Yi Chen had completed 4 profounds, which were the metal profound, water profound, fire profound, and earth profound. His next task was to complete the wood profound, thunder profound, and shadow profound. First was the wood profound. 1 week later, the wood profound was completed. 25 days later, the thunder profound was completed. There were only 4 days left before the 2 months, and the shadow profound was also completed. Yi Chen discovered that the more profounds one comprehended, the harder it was to complete the later ones. It seemed that a person's soul had a limit to what it could bear, and could not bear too many profounds. For example, Ajiu and Lu Wanxiu, the 2 of them had a stronger soul force. Therefore, they had grasped 6 complete profounds respectively. Yi Chen's soul force was above theirs, but there were too many profounds involved. Other than the 7 complete profounds of metal, wood, water, fire, earth, thunder, and shadow, there was also the space profound, fast profound, and slow profound. One person had more than 10 profounds, especially the space profound, which was equivalent to several ordinary profounds. Of course, even so, Yi Chen's soul had not reached its limit. It was just that his comprehension had slowed down slightly. There were only 4 days left, and Yi Chen decided to be extravagant. He came to the 3rd floor of the martial skill tower. One had to pay 100 Shinbi a day, and of course, the beginner members only had to pay 90 Shinbi. This was a world of fire and water. Water surged violently, and flames soared to the sky. Water and fire collided, creating a boundless white mist. The white mist was like a white dragon, rolling and spiraling. Sword after sword attack. Yi Chen's comprehension was getting deeper and deeper. The 3rd floor of the martial skill tower was still the 3rd floor after all, and could not be compared to the 1st floor. The comprehension speed was 100 times faster than the 1st floor, and Yi Chen could feel a flash of inspiration at every second. Go! On the 3rd day, Yi Chen swung his sword, and a scorching white dragon fiercely pounced out. Be it the waves of water or fire, they were all pierced by this white dragon, resulting in a heaven-shaking explosion. This white dragon looked like it was condensed from white mist, but it was actually a deeper transformation of the power of water and fire. It just looked like white mist on the outside. That's right, this move was the evolved version of merciless water and fire. Merciless Water and Fire was the Fire Emperor's self-created martial art. With Yi Chen's current cultivation realm, he had far surpassed the Fire Emperor. In his opinion, the merciless water and fire created by the Fire Emperor had gone astray in many aspects, and it couldn't bring out the full potential of merciless water and fire. The more Yi Chen studied merciless water and fire, the more he felt restricted. For example, the Fire Emperor's merciless water and fire was a bottle that could only hold one bottle of water. But Yi Chen's foundation wasn't just a bottle of water. No matter how hard he tried, he wouldn't be able to bring out his foundation. Therefore, Yi Chen simply used merciless water and fire as the foundation to create his own water and fire profound sword art. This sword art was still in its embryonic form, but it already surpassed merciless water and fire in might. I'll call you White Dragon Annihilation. White Dragon Annihilation used merciless water and fire as the foundation, and destruction sword intent as the essence. Its purpose was to destroy everything in front of it. Why isn't Yi Chen here yet? Outside the hunting tower, Li Wei looked at the sun in the paradise of gods and asked. Wait a little longer, he should be here soon. Huang Hengfei said. After a cup of tea's time, Huang Hengfei revealed a smile. He's here. Sorry to have kept you guys waiting. Not far away, Yi Chen walked over. He was immersed in comprehending White Dragon Annihilation, and almost forgot about the time. No rush. Since you're here, let's go in. All right. The group of 5 entered the hunting tower. Chapter 1089. The first level of the hunting pagoda was for individual hunting, while the second level was for teams. Be it the first or second level, there was a light door in the center. Through the light door, one could enter the hunting battlefield. Buzz! Instantly, the 5 of them disappeared into the light door on the second level of the hunting pagoda. When they reappeared, a vast starry sky appeared in front of them. The stars in the sky were like diamonds, deep and dreamy. Not far away, there was a group of black meteorites floating over, as if they would hit the yellow planet under their feet at any time, giving them a strong sense of pressure. Starry sky. Yi Chen raised his eyebrows. The hunting battlefield's environment is the starry sky. As for whether it is a real starry sky, I don't know. At least I can't tell. Huang Hengfei nodded. After pondering for a while, Yi Chen said, This starry sky shouldn't be that simple, right? Lin Xiaofeng said, How can the hunting battlefield be simple? There are also treasures here. Lin Xiaofeng said, How can the hunting battlefield be simple? There are treasures here as well. Although we might not be able to get Xinbi, it's still worth it if we can get some treasures. Other than that, the hunting battlefield is filled with dangers, not only from enemies, but also from dangerous places and bugs. There are some dangerous places where you can barely make it out alive, so you have to be observant and not be greedy. As for the bugs, they are a problem that we cannot avoid. They are everywhere in the hunting battlefield, and we can encounter them anytime, anywhere. It's fine if there are only a few of them, but if there are more than 10 of them, we can only run. Each of them has powerful battle prowess, and it's easy for them to reach the 5th level of the God of War Pagoda. After listening to their explanations, Yi Chen more or less understood the situation in the hunting battlefield. Alright, let's see how many teams are in the hunting battlefield. Huang Hengfei activated the light screen on his badge. After a few clicks, the names of the teams were displayed, with the number of people behind each team. There are a total of 24 teams, 110 people. The Devil Spear Battle Team is also here. They killed one of our members last time. This time, we must make them pay. The Devil Spear Battle Team was a battle team made up of demons. They were in the demon god paradise, the archenemy of the paradise of the gods. Bang! Bang! Just as Huang Hengfei was looking at the light screen of his emblem, at the edge of the dense mass of asteroids, dozens of huge asteroids suddenly exploded. What appeared in the line of sight of the 5 people were insects that had been magnified countless times. These insects looked like centipedes, longhorn beetles, ladybugs, moths, locusts, and some even looked like they were pieced together by many insects. The smallest of them was the size of a calf, while the largest was the size of a small mountain. Each of their bodies contained an astonishing amount of energy. This energy was so strong that it was like a star. Not good. It's a godworm. Li Wei was shocked. The insects in the hunting battlefield were god insects. It was said that god insects were creatures modified by true gods. The power of true gods could turn a deer into a horse and turn stone into gold. Modifying ordinary insects into god insects was as easy as lifting one's hand. Modified god insects were no longer ordinary insects. Their intelligence was not high, but they possessed frightening battle power. Moreover, they could devour the flesh and essence of life and death kings, and evolve themselves without any need for cultivation. There are more than 10 godworms here. We're not a match for them. Run. Huang Hengfei made a prompt decision and gave the order to escape. We can't run. There are a few behind us. Just as Wei Dong turned around, he saw several vicious godworms flying in his direction. The fastest was a locust-shaped godworm. With a flap of its wings, it instantly appeared in front of Wei Dong and slashed with its sickle-like claws. Fortunately, Wei Dong's reaction was fast enough. He raised his long blade and blocked the claw. However, he was blasted away, his body flickering chaotically. Kill our way out. Huang Hengfei's strength was the strongest. His weapon was a huge iron hammer. With a swing of the hammer, thunder rumbled. The locust's body was blown away, but it didn't die. Such a powerful defense. Yi Chen was astonished. These godworms were not only fast, but their defense was also ridiculously powerful. Moreover, they had a shocking wild instinct that seemed to be able to see through weaknesses. All of a sudden, all the godworms pounced toward the 5. How unlucky. If we don't pay a price this time, we won't be able to escape. A bitter smile appeared on Huang Hengfei's face. In the battlefield of hunting, the chances of encountering more than 10 godworms at once were very low. Most of the time, there would be 1 or 2, or even 5 or 6. Only at the edge of the godworms' nests would one encounter more than 10. Let's see if I can restrain them. As he spoke, Yi Chen's aura surged, and he unleashed his sword domain. Bzz. Heaven and earth went still, and the incoming godworms slowed down by 1,000 times, as if they were moving in slow motion. What's going on? How come they're so slow? They're so slow. I can attack them dozens of times in an instant. Huang Hengfei's group of 4 was still in a daze. These godworms were terrifying not only because of their powerful defenses, but also because of their incredible speed. Yi Chen, your sword domain actually contains the power of stopping space? Huang Hengfei finally reacted. I can't believe it. He looked at Yi Chen. Yi Chen said, there's no time to lose. Hurry up and attack them. The sword domain's effect was even better than he had imagined. Although these godworms possessed shocking power, they didn't have a domain. For example, in the divine trial field, if Audiobook hadn't had a domain, Yi Chen could have used his sword domain to crush him without any effort. Having a domain was very important. Only with a domain equivalent to Yi Chen's could one use it to counteract the power of stopping space. After all, stopping space had its limits. Great. Everyone, hurry up and kill these godworms. Huang Hengfei was pleasantly surprised. He hadn't expected Yi Chen to be proficient in the profound of space, which was known as one of the most powerful profounds for a reason. It could adapt to almost any environment. In the past, when they encountered so many godworms, they wouldn't even think of fighting. It wasn't just because the godworms were powerful, but also because the reward for killing them wasn't much. One godworm was only worth 10 shinbi, and killing a few wouldn't be worth more than a few dozen shinbi. It wasn't worth it. But now that they had the power of stopping space, they could kill as many as they wanted. After all, a single godworm wasn't worth much, but a dozen or so. If they killed 100, it would be worth 1,000 shinbi, which was equivalent to killing a member of another paradise. Haha, I killed one. I killed one too. Although the godworm's defenses were powerful, they couldn't withstand countless attacks. Gradually they died one by one, unable to resist. Chapter 1090. In a short while, all 19 godworms had been killed, and the Flying Spirit Battle Squad's total income had risen to 190 shinbi. In the hunting battlefield, regardless of whether it was an individual kill or a team kill, the Xinbi obtained would be considered as the total income. For the time being, they wouldn't be able to get a share of it. Only after they left the hunting battlefield would they be able to get their share of Xinbi based on their contributions. Yi Chen looked at his own contribution. It was as high as 40, and his total contribution was 50. Such a high contribution was understandable. After all, without Yi Chen's split sword domain, there was no way for them to contend against 19 godworms. They could only run away. Of course, this was only temporary, and it would gradually decrease. After all, Yi Chen couldn't maintain such a high contribution forever. The second highest contribution was Huang Hengfei and Lin Xiaofeng, both 3. Wei Dong and Li Wei were 2. Although the 4 of them did not put in much effort, according to the ratio, Huang Hengfei and Li Xiaofeng would each get 11 Xinbi, while Wei Dong and Li Wei would get 7 or 8 Xinbi each. This was free money, so it could be considered as extra income. A bottle of ice and fire 9-layered heavens was earned. In the past, we would only get 1 or 200 Xinbi each time we hunted. Now that we have the power of space freeze, we can kill as many as we want. Huang Hengfei and the others believed that their luck had come, and the key to this luck was Yi Chen. There were many godworms in the hunting battlefield. After 3 days, the 5 of them encountered 9 batches of godworms. However, these 9 batches only had 7 godworms at most, far from being comparable to the first batch they encountered. Still, the 9 batches added up to 35 godworms, which was equivalent to 350 Xinbi. Adding the initial 190 godworms, they had a total of 540 godworms. This was definitely a considerable amount of income. The Devil Spear Battle Squad is within 100 million li of us. The Paradise badge on the back of Huang Hengfei's hand suddenly flashed a frightening red. It turned out that there was a revenge mode in the hunting battlefield. When a member of your team was killed by another team, the Paradise badge would remind you when the enemy team was within 100 million li of you. Of course, it was limited to 1 time. If you failed this time, the Paradise badge wouldn't remind you next time. How strong is the Devil Spear Battle Squad? Yi Chen asked. Lin Xiaofeng said in a low voice, very, very strong. Last time, the Devil Spear Battle team only had 3 people. It seems that before this, they lost 2 people. But with just 3 people, they were able to suppress our Flying Spirit Battle team. In the end, they even killed one of our team members. If it weren't for a group of godworms being attracted to us at the critical moment, we wouldn't have had a chance to escape. So strong. Yi Chen raised his eyebrows. The Flying Spirit Battle team was already one of the top teams among the beginner teams. This Devil Spear Battle team was also a beginner team, but they could actually suppress the Flying Spirit Battle team with just 3 people. They are indeed very strong. None of the 3 members of the Magic Spear Squad who are fighting against us are weaker than me, and the captain of the Magic Spear Squad is even stronger than me. Damn it, they must have replenished their members this time. We don't have the slightest chance to take revenge. Huang Hengfei clenched his teeth, but there was nothing he could do. It's not like we don't have a chance. We can take them down one by one, Yi Chen said in a low voice. It's too dangerous. Although I really want to take revenge, it is not the time yet. Huang Hengfei thought for a moment and decided not to attack the Magic Spear Squad first. It was not that he was afraid of the Magic Spear Squad, but if he fought with them, they would definitely suffer heavy casualties. Wei Dong and Li Wei, who were slightly weaker, might fall. No worries, let me see where they are first. Coming to the hunting battlefield, they naturally had to hunt the enemies. There was no reason for Yi Chen to retreat. His forehead cracked open, and a silver vertical eye appeared. Yi Chen scanned the surroundings with his soul eye. Everything within 100 million li was within his range. Soul eye. Huang Hengfei and the other 3 were shocked. The soul eye was one of the most frightening special abilities. Although it could not increase a martial artist's power, it could allow them to have an unimaginable observation power. Even if a normal life and death realm king trained a secret soul art, their soul sensing range would only be a few 100,000 li, or even a few million li. However, the observation range of the soul eye could reach up to 100 million li. At the speed of light, it would still take half an hour to travel 100 million li found them. Within the range of the soul eye, Yi Chen saw 5 people. These 5 people were emitting a frightening demonic power fluctuation, and none of them was weaker than Huang Hengfei. 2 of them seemed to be even stronger than Huang Hengfei. On the back of their hands were black demonic god marks, which seemed to be the insignia of the demonic god paradise. Is it them? Yi Chen waved his hand, and a light screen appeared in the void, showing the figures of 5 people. Yes, it is them. Lin Xiaofeng recognized them at a glance. Indeed, they have already replenished their team. 3 people are already so hard to deal with, but 5 people? Our chances are very slim. Huang Hengfei clenched his fists. Yi Chen thought for a while and said, they will definitely encounter other teams. While they are fighting with other teams, we can quickly rush over and join hands with that team to destroy the Demon Spear Squad. I don't think they will reject such a good opportunity. In the hunting battlefield, everyone was both a hunter and a prey. It was common for hunters to join hands with other hunters, and it was normal for a team to be annihilated. This idea is not bad. Alright, if I don't take revenge, I will never feel happy. Whether we can succeed or not depends on this. Xiaofeng, Weidong, Li Wei, what do you think? Huang Hengfei looked at Lin Xiaofeng and the other 2. Naturally, we will take revenge. Lin Xiaofeng's eyes were cold. Weidong and Li Wei also nodded, each of them looking serious. On an emerald green planet, 5 young people appeared. These 5 people were all demons, and the demonic power on their bodies was more tyrannical than pure Jin Yuan, and it had a destructive power. One of the fat young people grinned and said, if it weren't for the god insect's attack last time, we would have definitely annihilated the Flying Spirit Squad. Moreover, there were only 3 of us last time, and this time there are 5. I just noticed that the Flying Spirit Squad has entered, but it won't be easy to meet them. Another young man with 2 horns on his head said slowly, the Flying Spirit Squad is nothing to worry about. It would be best if we meet them, and we will send them to heaven. It doesn't matter if we don't meet them. Among the 24 teams, except for a few relatively strong ones, the other teams will only have a dead end if they meet us. Eagle Eye, it is time for you to show off again. Among the team, the burly demons with the most powerful aura glanced at the tall and thin demons beside him. The tall and thin demons were demons of the Eagle Demon bloodline, and they were the eyes of the Demon Spear Squad. They were born with a very strong observation ability. Once they used the Eagle Eye talent, they could observe things within 10 million miles without being easily detected. The hunting battlefield seemed to be boundless, but it actually had a limit. The Eagle Eye talent was like a fish in water, and it didn't consume a lot of energy. No problem. Eagle Eye nodded. He took a deep breath, and as his demonic power surged, a huge eagle head appeared behind him. The 2 eagle eyes were extremely sharp, as if they could see through space and time. 8 million miles away, there is a recently broken planet. It should be caused by a battle. Let's go there. After a long time, Eagle Eye scattered the eagle head phantom behind him. A recently broken planet? It must not have been gone for long. Let's go. The 5 people used their demonic power, and like 5 beams of light, they flew in that direction. These 5 people didn't know that behind them, there were 5 people following them, maintaining a distance of tens of millions of miles. That tall and skinny demon is the Eagle-Eyed Devil King. He has the innate talent of the eagle eyes, and his battle strength is not too strong, but it is about the same as Lin Xiaofeng, and that fat demon is very troublesome. He is called the Devouring Heaven Devil King. The fat on his body can offset most of the attacks, and the rest of the attacks will be directly swallowed by him, and then spit out to attack the enemy. His battle strength is even above the Eagle-Eyed Heavenly King, the most powerful is their captain, the tall and sturdy demon race stone statue Heavenly King. His protective magic power and physical defense are inconceivably strong. I exchanged dozens of moves with him, and was unable to break through his defense even once. As for the other 2, they are newcomers, I do not know. Huang Hengfei analyzed the Demon Spear Squad's situation. When the time comes, leave the Stone Statue King to me. The 4 of you, and the other team can deal with the 4 of them. There shouldn't be a problem, right? Yi Chen had created the White Dragon Annihilation, and was looking for a powerful opponent to test it out. Without the Stone Statue King, we won't have a problem, but is the Stone Statue King that easy to deal with? Huang Hengfei looked at Yi Chen hesitantly. Don't worry. Unless he has the power of the 7th level of the God of War Pagoda, he can't do anything to me. In the past 2 months, Yi Chen had improved a lot. If he were to challenge the God of War Pagoda again, he had more than a 50% chance of passing the 6th level and reaching the 7th level. Alright, then be careful. Huang Hengfei did not know exactly how powerful Yi Chen was, but seeing how confident Yi Chen was, he could tell that it was not groundless. He could not help but nod. Leader, I found them. They are fighting with the 3 god bugs. They destroyed many planets along the way. The eagle-eyed Demon King's face lit up. Haha, looks like the hunting battlefield is also taking care of us. Let's get closer first and watch the tigers fight. After they kill all the god bugs, we will attack them in one go. The Stone Statue King laughed loudly. A million miles away, 5 young people were fighting with the 3 god bugs. These 5 young people were not members of the Paradise of Gods, nor were they members of the Demon God Paradise. They were members of the Barbarian God Paradise. The Barbarian God was the true god of the barbarian race. Although there were barbarians in Elysium, they were actually hybrids with the blood of the barbarian race. Lu Tai, bad news. We have been targeted by another team. They are approaching us rapidly. They are less than 300,000 miles away from us. The big-headed barbarian young man said anxiously. What team is it? The young man called Lu Tai was a huge man. He was wrapped in chains and had a white bone necklace around his neck. He held a huge mace in his hand and looked very wild. It seems to be the Demon Spear Squad. Chapter 1091. Damn it, it's actually the Magic Spear Battle Team. The Devil Spear Battle Team was definitely a strong team in the primary hunting battlefield. The number of teams that were stronger than this team could be counted with a single hand. Captain, what should we do? The barbarians loved to fight, but they also knew the difference between them. It's impossible to escape now. Kill the godworms with all your strength and fight the Devil Spear Battle Team. The sound of flowing iron was loud and clear. Hundreds of thousands of miles could be covered in just a breath's time. Running away would only cause them to die even more miserably. Boom! The 5 of them completely erupted with power and attacked the divine insect crazily. Berserk energy flew in all directions like a cosmic storm. It had to be said that when people were in desperate straits, the power they could unleash was extremely terrifying. Normally, when facing 3 divine insects, it would take them a long time to finish them off. But this time, it only took them a dozen or so breaths of time to kill them. As expected of the Iron Hammer Battle Team, you killed 3 godworms in such a short time. In the entire elementary hunting battlefield, your Iron Hammer Battle Team can rank at least in the top 15. A group of 5 people appeared in the line of sight of Lu Tai and the others. It was the Demon Spear Battle Team. The Devil Spear Battle Team wasn't in a hurry to attack. Otherwise, the Iron Hammer Battle Team wouldn't have had the time to kill the divine insects. If they ran at full speed, they would only need a single breath of time. Heavenly Stone Statue King, what are you trying to do? Lu Tai looked at the Heavenly Stone Statue King with a solemn expression. What do you think we're trying to do? The Heavenly Stone Statue laughed malevolently. When Lu Tai heard this, he knew that today would not be good, and shouted angrily. Your Devil Spear Squad. Don't be too arrogant. Although our Iron Hammer Squad is not as good as yours, but we are not fish on the chopping block. You can kill us at will. If you want to eat the Iron Hammer Squad, you have to see if your teeth are good enough. Be careful not to break your teeth. I have long heard that Iron Hammer Battle Team's captain, Flowing Iron, is a stubborn man. Today, I finally get to see it for myself. A young man with 2 horns on his head said with a disdainful smile. Ha ha ha. The other members of the Devil Spear team laughed wantonly. The Stone Statue Heavenly King said with ill intentions. Our Devil Spear Battle Team never returns empty-handed, but I can also give you a chance to choose. It depends on whether you can grasp it or not. Opportunity? Tell me. Lu Tai's face darkened. The Stone Statue Heavenly King stretched out a finger. 1. No need to say anything. Everyone, let's fight. My demon spear battle team has a 90% chance of annihilating all of you. If you don't believe me, you can try. The flowing iron battle team was silent. It was obvious that they didn't have the confidence to defeat the magic spear battle team. Whether they had the strength or not wasn't something that could be said. It was something that could only be achieved through fighting. In the primary hunting battlefield, the magic spear battle team had almost no opponents other than a few natural enemies. 2. Hand over 2 people for us to kill, and the rest can leave. Alright, you guys can choose. The heavenly stone statue king sneered. Lu Tai took a deep breath. His eyes were filled with anger as he said, "Dream on. If you want to fight, let's fight. Do you think I don't know that you have no intention of letting us go?" If they handed over 2 people, they would only be left with 3 people. They would be even more unable to contend against the Devil Spear Squad. This way, the Devil Spear Squad would be able to deal with them effortlessly. It's truly a pity. Originally, the 3 of you would have been able to live a bit longer. The Heavenly King Stone statue shook his head. He raised his palm high and waved it. Kill! 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 4 streaks of light rushed out and attacked the Iron Hammer battle team. All hail the god of barbarians. Fight with all your might. Lu Tai roared as he raised his mace and rushed out as well. The great battle erupted and instantly entered a white-hot state. They're fighting. Full speed ahead. Millions of miles away. Yi Chen's eyes flashed coldly as he shouted in a low voice. Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, he was the first to fly towards the battlefield. We will definitely succeed in our revenge this time. Let's go. Huang Hengfei and the other 3's hearts were racing. At the same time, they were filled with excitement and excitement. They had never thought of killing the Devil Spear Squad. But this time, they might succeed. The 5 of them were extremely fast. They could fly hundreds of thousands of miles in a single breath. Millions of miles wasn't very far. 8 million miles. 5 million miles. 3 million miles. 1 million miles. 500,000 miles. Soon, the 5 of them were less than 500,000 miles away from the battlefield. Oh no, another team is coming. Damn it. Just as the Heavenly Stone Statue King was about to join the battle, he suddenly turned his head and looked at the starry sky. In his sight, 5 figures were flying towards him. Flying Spirit Squad, you are courting death. The Heavenly Stone Statue King's body shone with a grayish-white luster, making him look like a stone statue. Outside his body, a grayish-white light shield appeared. He was already prepared for a fierce battle, and his killing intent was soaring. Heavenly Stone Statue King, you didn't expect this day, did you? Before he arrived, Huang Hengfei's voice was already transmitted over with the help of his quintessential essence. Flying Spirit King, do you really think that your puny Flying Spirit Squad can compete with our Devil Spear Squad? The Heavenly Stone Statue King's face was very ugly, although he didn't think that the Flying Spirit Squad could bring any danger to them. At least there would be some variables. This was not what he liked. He liked to control the overall situation. Huang Hengfei sneered. My Flying Spirit Squad is indeed not a match for the Devil Spear Squad. But your enemies are not just us. Flowing Iron, how about our 2 squads work together to annihilate the Devil Spear Squad? That's perfect. Flying Spirit King, this time, my Iron Hammer Squad owes you a favor. We will definitely repay it in the future. The members of Flowing Iron and Iron Hammer Squad were overjoyed. Originally, if the Flying Spirit Squad didn't show up, the possibility of them dying was as high as 90%. But now it was different. With the 2 squads working together, even the Devil Spear Squad wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. We can talk about the favor later. Right now we only have one goal, and that is to annihilate the Devil Spear Squad. As he spoke, Huang Hengfei took out his big iron hammer and flew towards the battlefield, intending to help the Iron Hammer Squad. Stay here. The Heavenly Stone Statue King roared angrily and flashed in front of Huang Hengfei. Your opponent is me. With a flash of sword light, Yi Chen appeared instantly and slashed at the Heavenly Stone Statue King. Bang! Chi exploded, and the Heavenly Stone Statue King was caught off guard and was sent flying. Holding the dragon spring sword in his hand, Yi Chen said to Huang Hengfei and the other 3, You guys go help the Iron Hammer squad. Leave the Heavenly Stone Statue King to me. He could tell that the Heavenly Stone Statue King was very powerful. If he didn't stop him, the Flying Spirit Squad and the Iron Hammer Squad would probably only be able to contend with the Devil Spear Squad. Alright, I'll leave it to you. Huang Hengfei and the other three entered the battlefield without any obstructions. With the help of the Flying Spirit Squad, the Iron Hammer Squad instantly relaxed. After all, no matter how powerful the Devil Spear Squad was, there were only 4 of them left without the Heavenly Stone Statue King. If 9 of them still couldn't contend against 4 of them, they might as well find a piece of tofu and kill themselves. You guys are too optimistic. I, the Silver-Horned Giant Demon King, am not someone you can defeat. The horned young demon shouted loudly. His body rapidly expanded, growing from 2 meters tall to 5 meters tall. His berserk magic power was like a raging sea, surging violently. His magic power reserve was more than 10 times that of the other members of the Devil Spear Squad. Even the Heavenly Stone Statue King couldn't compare to him in terms of magic power reserve. What? It's the Giant Demon Clan. Huang Hengfei narrowed his eyes. Demons were a general term. There were many subraces, such as the Flower Demons, the Demon Beast Clan, the Eagle Demons, and so on. The Giant Demons were a very powerful subrace among the demons. The Giant Demons were born with extraordinary strength. At the same realm, the Giant Demons could fight against many. Their magic power reserve was even more astonishing, more than 10 times that of the demons of the same realm. Flowing Iron, let's work together. Huang Hengfei felt that he wasn't a match for the Silver-Horned Giant Demon King. That's what I was thinking. Flowing Iron's weapon was a mace, while Huang Hengfei's weapon was a big iron hammer. Both of them had very violent attacks. Only the 2 of them could deal with the Silver-Horned Giant Demon King. However, the Silver-Horned Giant Demon King's strength was clearly beyond their imagination. Even though it was 1 against 2, it still attacked more than it defended. The burst of powerful magic power made them feel very uncomfortable. Giant demons. Yichen also saw the situation over here. The Troll Emperor he killed was from the Giant Demon Clan. His magic power was extremely dense and almost endless. He didn't expect to meet another giant demons here. You guys didn't expect this, right? Last time, my Magic Spear battle team lost 2 members, but this time, our new members are stronger than before. Especially this Silver-Horned Giant Demon King. He's not much weaker than me. He alone can fight against a few of you. The Stone Statue Heavenly King sneered. As long as we get rid of you, the others are nothing to worry about. Yichen said indifferently. Haha, this is the funniest joke I've ever heard. Although my Magic Spear battle team isn't the strongest in the primary hunting battlefield, in terms of individual strength, I, the Stone Statue Heavenly King, can at least rank in the top 3. You want to get rid of me? Dream on. The Stone Statue Heavenly King first laughed, then said eerily, but I have the same idea as you. After I get rid of you, I'll get rid of the Flying Spirit battle team and the Iron Hammer battle team. Thinking about it, getting rid of these 2 teams will definitely bring us a lot of money. Heaven Absolute Sword. Yichen didn't waste time talking to the Stone Statue Heavenly King. He immediately used the Heaven Absolute Sword, which was more powerful than merciless water and fire. The blurry sword light instantly ignored the distance between them, and heavily slashed at the Stone Statue Heavenly King's protective demonic chi. The Stone Statue Heavenly King was already prepared. He crossed his arms and blocked the sword. Clang! Sparks flew everywhere. The protective demonic chi was forcibly cut open, and the sharp sword light poured out with irresistible force. What? The Stone Statue Heavenly King felt his arms tremble, and his bones were about to break. The next moment, he was sent flying, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Stone Statue Heavenly King, you're only SSO. Yichen followed closely, and the Heaven Absolute Sword was used again. Don't look down on me. The Stone Statue Heavenly King roared, and he spat out a vast gray air current. This gray air current looked very heavy, as if it could crush a mountain. Once it was spat out, it covered the heaven and earth, and engulfed Yichen. Crack, crack. In an instant, Yi Chen's entire body was petrified, and he became a stone statue. My petrification talent can petrify anything. Die. The stone statue Heavenly King seized the opportunity and punched at Yi Chen. As long as this punch hit, Yi Chen would definitely be smashed to pieces. White Dragon destroys the world. However, the next moment, the stone layer on Yi Chen's skin cracked. It turned out that Yi Chen's protective sword will had blocked the petrification power, and it couldn't enter his body. Swinging his sword, Yi Chen used the White Dragon destroys the world, which he had created recently. A white dragon swooped down, and it bombarded the stone statue Heavenly King's body. Chapter 1092. Boom. Boom. The sound of explosions rang out continuously. The white dragon formed from sword chi possessed astonishing destructive power. The stone statue Heavenly King was sent flying into the air. Not only did its protective mana shatter, but the stone defensive layer on its skin also cracked. The disintegrating white dragon transformed into countless white sword chi that invaded through the cracks, destroying everything in its path. How could this be? The stone Heavenly King tried its best to use its mana to resist the white sword chi invading its body. However, the white sword chi was 10 times more terrifying than it had imagined. Not only was it incomparably sharp, but it would also explode when it encountered obstacles. Self-petrification. The stone Heavenly King wasn't an ordinary person. At the crucial moment, it used its petrification talent on itself, turning into a stone statue. The next moment, the stone statue shattered, and a meatball flew out. That meatball was a part of the stone Heavenly King's body, the part that hadn't been corroded by the sword chi. The meatball expanded, and the stone Heavenly King reformed its body. It actually destroyed 10% of my mana. And this is because I reacted quickly and petrified myself in time, giving up on being corroded by the sword chi. The stone Heavenly King's pupils shrank to a point. It was extremely wary of Yi Chen. An ordinary swordsman's sword chi also had the ability to annihilate, but it wasn't obvious. It was just a bit sharper. Yi Chen's sword chi was not only sharp, but it would also explode when it encountered obstacles. If his guess was correct, this move contained the opposing water profound and fire profound. Self-petrification not bad. Yi Chen understood the effect of White Dragon extinguishes the world very well. Compared to merciless water and fire, White Dragon extinguishes the world had entered the microscopic realm. Even a trace of sword chi would be extremely terrifying. When it invaded the opponent's body, it would cause great destruction. Merciless water and fire couldn't be so detailed. It did have the destructive power, but it was much weaker in terms of details. I admit that I have underestimated you, but this is the end. The stone Heavenly King took a deep breath and instantly entered the Anata realm. A layer of silver appeared on the surface of his stone skin, and his pupils also turned silver. This was the deeper use of the Anata body. At the same time, a set of stone armor appeared on his body. This was the high-level use of the petrification talent, petrification armor. Not only could it block part of the damage, but it could also absorb it. It had the same effect as a 6th-grade spirit body. Xiao. After entering the Anata state, the stone statue king's speed increased greatly. A silver-gray light flashed, and it instantly appeared in front of Yi Chen punching out. This punch contained the power of petrification, and once it hit, it could petrify anyone from the inside out. It was no small matter, and even if the enemy could block it, they would be corroded by the power of petrification. However, the moment he got close to Yi Chen, a mysterious power spread out with Yi Chen as the center. He clearly felt that his speed had slowed down by more than 10 times, as if he was moving in slow motion. The feeling was extremely uncomfortable, and he couldn't use his strength. Profound weight domain. Not daring to be careless, the Heavenly Stone Statue King released its unique domain, Heavy Domain. The mysterious gravity field contained a gravitational force, which was at least 1/10 of that of a normal white dwarf star. If it were a king warrior of the first or second sky of life and death realm, he or she would have been crushed into pieces the moment they entered the mysterious gravity field. However, in front of Yi Chen's sword realm, it could only slightly resist. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yi Chen waved out 3 sword strikes in a row, each one a white dragon destroyer. Boom! Boom! The heavenly stone statue king was blown back, and the petrified armor on its body cracked. It's the space stop power. No wonder you're so arrogant. The heavenly stone statue king was extremely annoyed. If Yi Chen didn't have the space stop power, he would have some confidence in exhausting him to death. But now, he couldn't do anything to the latter, and he couldn't even get close to Yi Chen. What's your name? Perhaps we can work together. As long as Flying Spirit Battle Team gives up on helping Iron Hammer Battle Team, I can give you 500,000 yuan stones. As far as he was concerned, Yi Chen was so powerful that he definitely had the right to speak in the Flying Spirit Battle Team. 500,000 yuan stones? What? You carry yuan stones with you? Entering the hunting battlefield, life and death were unpredictable. Therefore, the majority of people wouldn't carry any valuables, only empty storage rings. You don't have to worry about this. As long as you agree, I will pay you immediately. But you have to tell your battle team members to leave this place first. 500,000 yuan stones. Don't you think it's too little? Yi Chen sneered. 500,000 yuan stones is indeed not much, but you have to understand that even if we continue to fight, we might not necessarily lose. These 500,000 yuan stones are completely free for you. The Heavenly Stone Statue King had decided to numb Yi Chen first, then gather the strength of the team, and take care of him in one fell swoop. If he had to blame someone, he could only blame himself for being too greedy and not knowing when to retreat. That might not be the case. Moreover, after killing you, I can also get 500,000 yuan stones. As he spoke, 3 different colored flowers appeared above Yi Chen's head. As soon as these 3 flowers appeared, Yi Chen's essence, qi, and spirit immediately multiplied, and a divine light shot out from his eyes. 3 flowers borrowing Dao, battle power multiplied. Dai. It was the same white dragon destroyer, but this time, a white halo appeared on the white dragon's body. With a flash, it attacked the Heavenly Stone Statue King's body. Rumble! A sky-shaking sound exploded, and the Heavenly Stone Statue King's entire body was submerged in the white light. Ah, damn it! The Heavenly Stone Statue King was like a trapped beast. Both of his hands crazily waved, leaving a gray streak in the air. The white light seemed to have traces of being torn apart. Primordial Spirit Lock. There was no way Yi Chen would give the Heavenly Stone Statue King a second chance. A golden light flashed between his eyebrows, and a golden halo flew out, disappearing into the white light. No! The Heavenly Stone Statue King screamed, as if it had suffered a serious injury. A cold light flashed in Yi Chen's eyes, and he attacked with another white dragon destroyer. Pop! This time, the white dragon completely shattered the Heavenly Stone Statue King's body, and the other party's voice came to an abrupt stop. What, the captain is dead? Impossible, how could the captain die? In terms of individual strength, the captain is at least ranked in the top few in the elementary hunting battlefield. Even if the captain is not a match for the other party, he should at least be able to escape. With the death of the Heavenly Stone Statue King, the other members of the Devil Spear Battle Team panicked. Since Yi Chen could kill the Heavenly Stone Statue King, he could definitely kill any one of them. In addition, they were outnumbered, and the gap between them was even greater. Run! The Silverhorn Giant Devil King was the first to escape. He shook off Huang Hengfei and Lu Tai, and fled into the distance. Where are you going? Although the Silverhorn Giant Devil King had shaken off Huang Hengfei and Lu Tai, Yi Chen still had his eyes on him. The distance between the two continued to decrease. You can't kill me. I'm a genius of demons. I can't die. The Silverhorn Giant Devil King was filled with fear as he roared. The Heavenly Stone Statue King is already dead. If you don't go down to accompany him, that would be too much. In that instant, the sword domain covered the other party. Yi Chen first used a Sky Absolute Sword attack to cut open his defense, then threw out a White Dragon Destroyer slash. I can't accept this. The Silverhorn Giant Devil King was a bit weaker than the Heavenly Stone Statue King. Under Yi Chen's all-out attack, there was no way he could survive. He fell instantly, and his storage ring was taken over by Yi Chen. After getting the storage ring, Yi Chen didn't even look at it and turned back. Even without Yi Chen, the Flying Spirit Battle Team and the Iron Hammer Battle Team had the absolute advantage. The first to die was the Eagle Eye King, followed by the Demon Spear King. Finally, only the Heaven-Devouring Demon King was left. Even if I die, I'll drag you guys down with me. The Heaven-Devouring Demon King was extremely ferocious. He swallowed all the attacks of the 9 and then self-detonated. Boom! It was like a star exploding. The light produced by the self-detonation drowned everyone. Although Yi Chen was far away, he could feel the terrifying power of the self-detonation. His body kept retreating. Finally, the self-detonation light dimmed. Besides Yi Chen, the other 9 were in a sorry state. Some of the closer ones even had their bodies damaged, smoke rising from their bodies. This guy is simply a human-shaped planet. Huang Hengfei muttered. Thank you, Flying Spirit Battle Team, for your help. My Iron Hammer Battle Team will never forget this favor. If there is a chance in the future, we will definitely repay you. But we still have some matters to attend to, so we'll take our leave first. Lu Tai winked at the other members of the Iron Hammer Battle Team and shot out. Farewell. The other 4 members of the Iron Hammer Battle Team also shot out, their speed reaching the limit. What's going on with this Iron Hammer Battle Team? The Demon Spear Battle Team has already been annihilated, so why are they running so fast? Li Wei was dumbfounded. Huang Hengfei smiled. They're afraid that we'll wipe them out as well. After all, Yi Chen's strength is too powerful. Even the Stone Statue King and the Silver Horn Giant Demon King were killed. I see. Wei Dong suddenly understood. They hadn't thought of this point and couldn't help but sigh at Lu Tai's cautiousness. Everyone said that the barbarian race was thick-skinned, but it seemed like this was not the case. They did the right thing. If it were me, I would also lead my team and leave immediately. Yi Chen smiled. No one would like to have their fate in the hands of others. Haha, Captain, Yi Chen, we actually got 18,000 Shimbi after annihilating the Demon Spear Battle Team. Looks like the Iron Hammer Battle Team only got 2,000 Shimbi. Annihilating a team, no matter if they were working with other teams or just their own team, the reward would be doubled. The Demon Spear Battle Team had 5 members, so each member would get 1,000 Shimbi. 5 people would get 5,000 Shimbi, so double the reward would be 20,000 Shimbi. It's all thanks to Yi Chen. Huang Hengfei couldn't help but sigh at Yi Chen's strength. They were both at the 6th level of the God of War Pagoda, but he was much weaker than Yi Chen. Yi Chen probably already had the strength to pass the 6th level. I can't do this without everyone. As he spoke, Yi Chen activated his badge. It showed that he had earned 18,540 Shimbi. His contribution was ridiculously high, reaching 35 Shimbi. His total contribution was less than 50 Shimbi. In other words, out of these 18,540 Shimbi, he could earn about 13,000 Shimbi. This was a huge windfall. One had to know that under normal circumstances, a low-level battle team could only earn a few hundred Shimbi per hunt. 4 hunts a year would only earn 1 or 2,000 Shimbi. Huff. Yi Chen let out a deep breath. He could already see his strength improving by leaps and bounds. With so many Shimbi, what was there to worry about? Chapter 1093. They were not allowed to stay in the hunting grounds for more than a week. Over the next few days, Yi Chen's team hunted a large number of divine worms and earned 19,500 divine coins. By the end of the last day, they had earned 20,000 divine coins, including 10% of the team reward. It was 22,000 divine coins. It was a huge harvest. At the entrance of the hunting tower, Yi Chen's team walked out. Haha, let's go have a drink. This feels great. Huang Hengfei's face was flushed red. In this hunt, Yi Chen's contribution was the highest, with 36 points, while his was the second highest, with 5 points. According to the distribution, he would receive 2,200 Shimbi, which was more than his annual income. I'll treat you to 10 bottles of Ice and Fire 9 Heavens each. Yi Chen had earned 15,840 divine coins in total. His income was close to that of a high-level member. It's your turn to treat. You're a tycoon. Li Wei giggled. After drinking for half a day, the five separated and went about their own business. On the way, Yi Chen met Lu Wenxiu. She told him that Ajiu had reached the 5th level of the God of War Pagoda and had become a member of the Fierce Wind Battle Team 3 days ago. Although the Fierce Wind Battle Team was not as strong as the Flying Spirit Battle Team, it was still one of the top 6 battle teams in the Paradise of Gods. Their leader was not much weaker than Huang Hengfei. Looks like Ajiu's spear arts have reached a certain level. Yi Chen was not surprised at all. Ajiu's martial arts phantom would become stronger with every additional martial art. His potential was huge. The path of cultivation was about relaxation and tension. After resting for 3 days, Yi Chen began to cultivate. The first to cultivate was naturally the White Dragon Annihilation. A martial art that contained 2 profound meanings could reach the level of the Sky Extinction Sword, which was already the limit. There was not much room for improvement. However, the White Dragon Annihilation was different. It contained the profound meanings of water and fire. Water and fire opposed each other, so there was still a lot of room for improvement. As Yi Chen was already a mid-level member, he only needed to pay 70 divine coins to cultivate on the 3rd level of the Martial Technique Pagoda, 30 less than ordinary members. 4 days had passed, and Yi Chen had once again raised his White Dragon Annihilation to a whole new level. It had almost reached the limits of the water and fire profound meanings. In the 3rd floor of the Martial Skill Tower, cultivating martial arts was 100 times more effective than cultivating in the outside world. 4 days was equivalent to 400 days, which was more than a year. To Yi Chen, 1 year was more effective than 2 or 3 years for others. White Dragon, destroy the world. With a swing of the sword, the White Dragon was like a dragon that could destroy the world. Everywhere it went, everything exploded and was annihilated. It was a scene of doomsday that ordinary martial arts would not be able to achieve. It's finally done. Letting out a long breath, Yi Chen felt as if a huge burden had been lifted from his shoulders. The current White Dragon annihilating the world was several times stronger than it was 4 days ago. Even if the Heavenly Stone Statue King came back to life, it would not be able to block this sword. It would die in an instant. This sword was almost the limit of a 2nd revolution martial art. As for the 2nd transition martial arts, it was the grade of profound sense martial arts. Martial arts that contained a type of profoundness were considered as 1st transition martial arts. It was a 2nd grade martial art that contained 2 types of martial arts. Martial arts that contained 3 types were rank 3 martial arts. So on and so forth. Of course, in a battle between martial artists, it did not mean that a 2nd transition martial art would be more powerful than a 1st transition martial art, and a 3rd transition martial art would be more powerful than a 2nd transition martial art. For example, although some people had created a 2nd transition martial art, the fusion of the profoundness was not good enough, and they might not be able to compete with those who had used a 1st transition martial art to the limit. However, in terms of grade, a 2nd transition martial art was naturally many times more powerful than a 1st transition martial art, and a 3rd transition martial art was many times more powerful than a 2nd transition martial art. As for momentary glory, it was an exception. Among the 2nd transition martial arts, the White Dragon annihilating the world is already at the peak, and it is many times more powerful than ordinary 2nd transition martial arts. Do I have to create a 3rd transition martial art that contains 3 types of profoundness? Yi Chen muttered. No, the foundation is not enough. If I create a 3rd transition martial art, it will only be a waste of time. Currently, only the White Dragon annihilating the world and Tianju sword are good enough. The other 2nd transition martial arts have not matured yet. Fine. I will use the destruction sword intent as the essence and create some 2nd transition sword moves. With the White Dragon annihilating the world and Tianju sword, the other 2nd transition sword moves were no longer of much use, but they could be used to prepare for the 3rd transition sword move. With a stronger foundation, everything he did would be as if the gods were helping him. The first to be tested was Autumn Water. Yi Chen wanted to raise its power to a new level. 3 days later, the new gold water profound sword move was created. However, it was no longer called Autumn Water, but Autumn Kill. Autumn was originally a bleak scene, and autumn represented gold. Therefore, Yi Chen named this sword move Autumn Kill. Autumn Kill used the destruction sword intent as the essence, and it displayed the killing intent of autumn to the extreme. With a swing of the sword, it was like the arrival of autumn, and all living things would inevitably enter their final stage. After autumn, it would be winter with no life. Another week later, a new second transition sword move was created. This time, it was the Wood and Fire profound sword move, Raging Fire Incinerating Spring. Spring represented wood, and summer represented fire. Blazing Fire Incinerating Spring meant that summer buried spring, and used wood to fuel fire, making the fire even stronger. With a swing of the sword aura reached an extreme level. Although it did not have the desolate killing intent of Autumn Kill, it was more violent and powerful. If Blazing Fire Incinerating Spring was already domineering enough, then the Fire and Thunder profound sword move, Heavenly Thunder Earthly Fire, which took Yi Chen 10 whole days to create, was even more powerful. Thunder and fire had a lot of similarities. Both could cause all living things to burn. When the two were combined, there was nothing that could not be burned. It also had a strong defense-breaking attribute. If one was hit by this sword, even the undying body would not be able to withstand it. Without the sword intent to protect himself, even Yi Chen did not want to be hit by this sword. Although Yi Chen had 7 consummate profounds, when he combined some of them, the power he could bring out was just passable. The last sword move was the Gold Shadow Profound, Life Snatching 1000. Life Snatching 1000 contained the Metal Profound and Shadow Profound. Among the 7 consummate profounds, the Shadow Profound was weaker than the other profounds in terms of offense. Therefore, it was not suitable to combine with the other profounds. The Metal Profound was extremely sharp, which could make up for some of the flaws in its offense. Life Snatching 1000 was not as powerful as the other sword moves, but its attacking range was much larger. Once the sword was shot out, thousands of golden lights would appear, making it hard to distinguish the real from the fake. 5 weeks had passed, and Yi Chen now had 6 sword moves, namely White Dragon Exterminating, Sky Absolute Sword Autumn Kill, Blazing Fire Incinerating Spring, Heavenly Thunder Earthly Fire, and Life Snatching 1000. In addition, there was Momentary Brilliance, which was not a sword move, but could freeze space. Although I don't have the Space Upanishad Tower, I have the Time Tower. I need to upgrade Momentary Brilliance. Among the 7 killing moves, Momentary Brilliance was still one of the best. However, compared to before, it was no longer supreme. At least, the power of White Dragon Exterminating was much more powerful than Momentary Brilliance, and the power of Heaven Absolute Sword was not weaker than Momentary Brilliance. The other killing moves were only slightly weaker. Currently, Momentary Brilliance only had the effect of freezing space, which was a super killing move. However, compared to the other killing moves, Momentary Brilliance had the greatest potential. It contained the Space Profound, and Yi Chen had only comprehended 70% of it. If he could reach 80% or 90%, the power of Momentary Brilliance would definitely increase by dozens of times. It was not an exaggeration to say that Momentary Brilliance, which only contained the Space Profound, was much more powerful than a rank 2 martial skill. Once he mastered the Space Profound, it could even be compared to a rank 3 martial skill. However, obviously, the Space Profound was too heaven-defying. There was no Space Upanishad Tower in the Paradise of Gods. Therefore, it was impossible to directly improve the Space Profound. Therefore, he could only start from Momentary Brilliance. By perfecting Momentary Brilliance, he could indirectly comprehend the Space Profound, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. As for the Time Tower, it had 2 floors in total. On the first floor, 1 day in the outside world was 10 days in the inside world. On the second floor, 1 day in the outside world was 100 days in the inside world. Compared to the Tower of Martial Skills, the Tower of Time was undoubtedly much more advanced. After all, the Tower of Martial Skills could only accelerate the cultivation speed of martial skills. By contrast, The Tower of Time could adjust the ratio of time and improve any aspect. The fee on the first floor of the Time Tower wasn't very high. Ordinary members would have to pay 30 shinbi a day, while intermediate members would have to pay 21 shinbi a day. On the second floor, the fee started to skyrocket. Ordinary members would have to pay 500 shinbi a day, while intermediate members would have to pay 350 shinbi a day. In the first 5 weeks and 35 days, Yi-Chen had spent 2,450 shinbi. He had about 14,000 shinbi left, which was enough for him to stay on the second floor of the Time Tower for over a month. After leaving the Martial Skill Tower, Yi-Chen went to the Time Tower. On the second floor of the Time Tower, Yi-Chen constantly practiced momentary brilliance and sensed the mysteries of space. As days passed by, momentary brilliance made remarkable progress. 300 days in the second floor of the Tower of Time were equal to 3 days in the outside world. Although the power of momentary brilliance only increased by 2 times, its range had reached 15,000 m. Within 15,000 m, the moment momentary brilliance appeared, everything would be still. 1,000 days on the second floor of the Time Tower were equivalent to 10 days in the outside world. Yi-Chen's space ultimacy had finally reached 80%. The brilliant momentary brilliance with 80% of space power, Upanishad bloomed with a radiance that eclipsed the other killing techniques. The range of its sword aura had reached 100,000 zhang, which was around 600 to 700 miles. Its attack power had increased tenfold, which was several times stronger than the white dragon destroying the world. In the past, momentary glory could only be used in close combat. The range of 3,000 zhang was too small. As long as the enemy was careful and kept their distance from him, momentary glory would not be of much use. Unless the enemy's speed was much lower than his, he would be able to force the enemy into close combat. But now it was different. The range of 1,000 zhang still did not seem very big, but the improvement was not just a little bit. 1,500 days on the second floor of the Time Tower were equivalent to 15 days in the outside world. Yi-Chen made persistent efforts to expand the range of momentary brilliance to 150,000 m, namely 500 miles. I'm almost at the bottom. It's just a waste of time. Yi-Chen didn't waste any more time on momentary brilliance. He stopped cultivating. After all, good steel should be used on the edge of the blade. No matter how many shinbi he had, he couldn't afford to squander like this. He had spent over 5,000 shinbi in 15 days. Chapter 1094. Next, Yi-Chen focused his mind on Zhenyuan cultivation. Although martial arts were important in life and death realm, it was not something that could be improved just because one wanted to. Zhenyuan cultivation was the most important. Although Yi-Chen's strength had increased by several folds, he was still lacking when facing some powerful 6th layer life and death realm heavenly kings. Advancing from the 6th layer to the 7th layer was a huge hurdle. In order to advance to the 7th layer, one had to condense the Emperor's mark. If one failed to condense the Emperor's mark, it would be useless no matter how many years of bitter cultivation. Therefore, there were simply too many experts stuck at the 6th layer, and their strength was also uneven. The gap between the bottom and the peak was definitely dozens of folds. If 6th layer life and death realm heavenly kings were divided into grades, then Yi-Chen would only be in the 4th or 5th layer. Above him were the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd layers. And the best way to increase one's strength was to increase one's cultivation base. Yi-Chen's current cultivation base was only at the 4th layer. Once he reached the 5th layer, he would naturally surpass the 4th or 5th layer and enter the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd layers, which was much better than creating martial arts. Under normal circumstances, Yi-Chen had just reached the 4th sky of life and death realm, and if he wanted to break through to the 5th sky, he would need at least 5 years, or even 10 years. If he wanted to build a solid foundation, even 20 years would not be too much. It had nothing to do with the comprehensive ability, and it did not have to do with the talent either. It was a process of grinding an iron bar into a needle, and it was the accumulation of the foundation. Fortunately, with the Time Tower, Yi Chen could reduce the time by 100 folds. 20 years could be reduced to 2 or 3 months. Of course, this was only him. There was still a gap between people. Yi Chen was naturally limited in true spirit world. The reason why he could catch up was because his foundation was rising too quickly. He was accumulating every day, and every day was a new self. Others couldn't do the same. Time passed quickly, and the second hunt ended. The harvest of this hunt wasn't as big as the first one. After all, it was impossible to annihilate the enemy paradise teams every time. Sometimes luck was needed. However, it wasn't too bad either. The total income from the second hunt was 7,000 divine coins. And Yi Chen got a little more than half of it, which was 3,800 divine coins. In the third hunt, the Flying Spirit Battle Team created another miracle, annihilating another Demon Paradise Battle Team, the Sea Demon Battle Team. Their total earnings were even higher than the first hunt, reaching 24,000 Shinbi. Yi Chen received a total of 17,000 Shinbi. In total, Yi Chen had earned close to 40,000 Shinbi in the hunting battlefield, and he had only conducted 3 hunts. Of course, no matter how much Shinbi he had, it was all moonlight to Yi Chen. The Tower of Time consumed too much divine coins. It was like a bottomless pit. On the second floor of the Tower of Time, a middle-level member would earn 350 divine coins a day, or 10,500 divine coins a month. Therefore, each time Yi Chen made a reward, he could only stay on the second floor for about 1 month. Yi Chen, thank you for choosing to join the Flying Spirit Battle Team. Thank you. Huang Hengfei sighed with emotions. He really hoped that Yi Chen could stay in the Flying Spirit Battle Team. With Yi Chen's help, the total earnings of the Flying Spirit Battle Team were more than 50,000. It was unimaginable. It should be noted that it was already not bad for a beginner team to earn 2,000 divine coins in 1 hunt, and 6,000 divine coins in 3 hunts. However, as a middle-level member, Yi Chen had to go to the intermediate hunting ground. Of course, Huang Hengfei also sincerely wished Yi Chen to stay in the Flying Spirit Battle Team. If he stayed in the Flying Spirit Battle Team, he would only be a burden to Yi Chen. Yi Chen had a broader stage, and could earn more divine coins. The Flying Spirit Battle Team was just his starting point, not his destination. Without you, I couldn't do it alone. You don't have to thank me. Yi Chen shook his head and continued. Lung Fifan is not much weaker than me. With him, the Flying Spirit Battle Team will dominate the beginner hunting ground one day. Lung Fifan had reached the 5th level of the God of War Pagoda a month ago. With Yi Chen's help, Lung Fifan had joined the Flying Spirit Battle Team to make up for the lack of members. In Yi Chen's opinion, Lung Fifan was indeed very strong and had great potential. Perhaps he was not good at the spatial profound meaning and could not help the Flying Spirit Battle Team earn a lot of divine coins. His current strength was not very strong either. However, as time passed and the divine coins increased, Lung Fifan would definitely improve greatly. Haha, of course we believe in Lung Fifan. He is also a rare genius in the paradise of gods. The addition of Lung Fifan made Huang Hengfei and the others very happy. It more or less made up for some of their regrets. On a small path in the paradise of gods, Lung Fifan was walking alone. Before joining the Flying Spirit Battle Team, he had considered many things, but in the end he still agreed. He was not afraid to compare himself with Yi Chen. A sabersman could lose, but he must never be afraid, because a sabersman was a brave man, and a brave man had no fear. Paradise of Gods Hotel. Welcome to the Frost Battle Team. Huang Fuyu reached out and shook hands with Yi Chen. It's my honor. Yi Chen sized up Huang Fuyu and the others and said slowly, did we lose one person?